Who's actually going to get the most out of a dedicated paper folder and inserter? Is it worth the price tag for a typical office that just needs to ship a few invoices each week, or does it belong on the floor of a high-volume mailroom? And if you're the kind of buyer who worries about overpaying for features you'll never use, should you skip this machine altogether? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started looking at automatic folder/inserters, the biggest hesitation was the classic "will it fit my workflow or just sit idle gathering dust?" The Formax FD6210 Special sits in that sweet spot where a small to medium business can finally automate what used to be a manual, error-prone process, but the price still feels like a leap for a company that isn't sending out hundreds of pieces daily. The risk of buying the wrong thing here is real. You could end up with a piece of equipment that's either too slow for a growing operation or too complex for a team that only needs occasional bulk mailing. That's why I dug into how the machine actually works in a real office, rather than just scanning the spec sheet. Let's start with the kind of environment where this unit makes sense. Imagine a marketing department that runs monthly direct mail campaigns, a law firm that needs to send out client packets with a cover letter, or a small e-commerce operation that ships order confirmations and return forms in a single envelope. All of those scenarios involve multiple pages, often a mix of paper and a single insert like a brochure or a return slip. The FD6210 Special's 2 sheet feeders and the special insert/BRE feeder let you load a stack of primary documents on one side and a separate stack of inserts on the other, so the machine can automatically combine them and fold everything in the right order. That's a step up from a single feed folder where you'd have to pre-assemble the packet by hand. Who should definitely consider this machine? First, any business that regularly processes 100 to 500 pieces per day and wants to eliminate the repetitive handfolding and inserting that eats up labor hours. The high-capacity vertical stacker means you can run a batch, let the machine stack the finished envelopes, and walk away while it fills a tray that holds dozens of ready Togo packets. The 7-inch color touchscreen makes it easy to select one of the 50 programmable jobs, which is handy if you run multiple mailing templates, say a standard invoice set and a promotional brochure set. The envelope and paper presence sensors add a safety net, stopping the cycle if a feeder runs out, so you don't waste time fixing a jam in the middle of a run. On the flip side, if your daily volume never climbs above a few dozen pieces, you'll probably find the machine's footprint and cost disproportionate to the benefit. The clamshell design, while sturdy, takes up a fair amount of floor space, and you'll need a dedicated area near a power outlet and a clear path for the output stacker. Small offices that only send occasional letters might be better off with a simple manual folder and a separate inserter, or even just a well-trained employee with a folding template. The learning curve is also something to keep in mind. The touchscreen UI is intuitive, but programming 50 different jobs takes a bit of setup time. If you're not comfortable tweaking settings or troubleshooting minor feed issues, you could end up spending more time configuring the machine than you save on labor. Now, let's talk about practical strengths that show up once the unit is in daily use. The dual sheet feeders are a game changer for mixed paper jobs. I've seen a boutique accounting firm load a stack of 8-page statements on the main feeder while feeding a single-page cover sheet on the insert feeder. The machine folds the statements, inserts the cover, and seals the envelope in a seamless flow. Because the insert feeder can handle a different media type, you can even slip in a pre-printed promotional flyer without having to pause the run. The vertical stacker's capacity reduces the need for constant operator intervention. You can set the machine for a 200-piece job and walk away until it finishes, which is a real productivity boost. One of the subtler benefits is the sensor system. In a busy office, you've probably experienced the frustration of a machine that eats a sheet or stops mid-run because it can't detect a paper jam. The FD6210 Special sensors constantly monitor both the main and insert feeders. If a stack runs low, the machine pauses and flashes a warning on the touchscreen, giving the operator a clear cue to refill without having to guess why the output stopped. That reduces waste and prevents partial batches that would otherwise need to be rerun. Of course, there are trade-offs that matter once you've taken the hype out of the headline specs. The speed isn't disclosed in the brief I've seen, but based on user forums for similar Formax models, you can expect around 40 to 60 envelopes per minute.